Enshrouded just reset your entire build, and no, I'm not talking about the base. The entire skill tree has been completely wiped, the combat has been completely reworked in the game, and honestly, this might be the biggest setup here for 1.0. Alrighty, so starting us off on a blank slate here with rebuilding our character with the skill tree wipe. Obviously, this was full on necessary with all the individual nodes that they have added and, all the things and tweaks and stuff that they have made. They just wanted to give it an even playing field for every player out there, whether you're new diving into the game or have already leveled up your character to max and pumped into what you were looking for, because again, they've made a ton of changes. As you can see here visually, they've added a bunch of new nodes. Not only did they add more nodes, they've also added additional skills and new skills, so check out some of those, like this whirlwind here for the two-handed weapon that, oh man, I can't wait to get my hands on and try. But on top of that, you can see some of these nodes are actually 0 out of 3, which, yes, as you would have guessed, you can actually upgrade these individual nodes, up to 3 times, which then again will give you additional benefits. It adds for a ton of flexibility here and versatility when it comes to your overall build. Again, making it feel more of like an actual path for your build versus like, wasting a lot of points trying to carve out the path that you are hoping to do with your individual playstyle. And that's not all here. As we can see in the circle, they've also rearranged a lot of the stuff that we have seen before to make it easier and more accessible early game. Things like, for instance, the double jump you can see here in the center of the map now. This was previously not here. You felt like it was wasted points according to what your build was, trying to get to it to unlock it. Well, no more. You now can unlock it right away as soon as you upgrade or level up early game. Not only that, you can also see that the weapons or some of these little nodes in the center, even for the pickaxe or the axe, now have an option to press R for a special ability, and it even mentioned something about focus. And that brings us to generating focus utilizing your weapons or tools. As you attack with the weapon or a tool, it will then increase this bar below your items, as you can see here on your hotbar. Once this bar gets completely full, it will then give you a proc to hit R on your keyboard to perform a special attack or a special ability for that said tool or weapon. Now, the only way to unlock this is you do have to unlock that node in the skill tree. You can see taking a look at the two-handed one that I have here, or taking a look at the pickaxe one or the axe here in the center. But once you do unlock these, they make a world of difference, as they do offer a special unique ability to use for that tool or weapon. Take a look here at the tree or the axe one. It now gives you kind of like a whirlwind ability for your axe, and you can just chop down the trees a lot faster and quicker within an area. Or things like the two-handed weapon ability that allows you to do a full whirlwind ability towards the enemy. Again, you name it here, it's absolutely awesome. And additionally, for combat, they also have added now the heavy attack. So tapping your attack button will simply do the standard light attacks, and then pressing and holding it down will then do a full-on heavy attack. Each individual weapon has a different heavy attack animation, so try to play around with them to figure out which one you prefer or like the best, but utilizing this with a 3-hit combo will make a world of difference with the combat and damage output that you perform, as the heavy attacks actually do double the damage of a light attack. So it's going to be more important than ever to utilize a good combination between heavy attacks and light attacks to get the best DPS outcome. And speaking on combat, they've also added 2 additional things here to keep in mind, and that is, 1, the enemy can actually dodge your attacks now. Like from afar, if you're utilizing a ranged attack, they can actually dodge out of the way, which was actually quite surprising and caught me off guard the first time it happened. So be a little bit more strategic on where you pick and choose to shoot from, and if you are, going to be shooting from the ground where they can reach you, make sure that when they're closing that gap after they dodge it, you have a plan in action. And secondly, that brings us to the advanced enemy awareness system. As you get closer to them or make noise or attack or do anything, that meter, or basically that diamond, will fill up, and then when it gets fully maxed out, that is when the enemy will then know that you are there or in close proximity. Most often, though, the enemy does have to see you visually, like in their line of sight, in order for them to full on turn red to where they're chasing after you and know that you're there. So utilize this to your advantage. It should allow you to be more strategic and sneaky around in the game, to avoid combat if you're not looking to engage. But again, just something really cool here that they've added that I think is a beautiful quality of life. And now diving into another big thing they've added here relates to the armor and gear system in the game. Number 1, I think this is huge, and that is the armors, the shields, the wands, and the rings are now officially upgradable utilizing runes, again allowing a lot more flexibility to your overall build and really allow you to craft, you know, your own individual playstyle utilizing the gear. And speaking on upgrading, that brings us to the second thing that's really cool, and that is they now have officially made it to where in order to upgrade an item, whether it's a specific armor set or a specific weapon, it has to correlate with the NPC, and then that NPC will be able to upgrade it. So for instance, the blacksmith will handle all of your melee stuff, whether it's a melee armor set or, you know, a greatsword, for instance, they'll be able to upgrade it there for you, but none of the other NPCs will be able to. Same thing with the alchemist for the mage set or the huntress for the rogue set or ranger set, right? So again, you're going to be utilizing the correct NPC this time to do your upgrades. And lastly here for armor, you can actually push your skills even further than the upgrades allow you in the skill tree. You know how you can pump in 0 to 3, as we mentioned beforehand? Well, you can actually push that even further because now they've added perks that can drop on weapons that directly increase that specific skill stat. So as you can see here on screen, just a couple of examples that I have uncovered, but again, really cool feature. Like I said, it's just going to allow a lot more flexibility and versatility to really hone in on the build and your playstyle here for Enshrouded. I think the developers have done a really good job of expanding that, and I think that's one of the reasons what is going to set Enshrouded apart from basically all other survival RPG games out there. And next up, let's talk about a huge feature that they've added into the game for all of my builders out there, and even if you're not a builder, it's still something very interesting that I'm sure you'll find and you'll enjoy, and that is you'll have the ability now to actually visit people's worlds and bases. Check this out. Inside of the game now, you'll have the ability at the bottom on the play tab to go to this adventure sharing mechanic. Once you go into here, it'll actually give you the ability at the very top to see all of the worlds that are currently trending. You can see how many downloads that each one of them have had. You can see how many upvotes that people have had, and you can even hit the subscribe button so you can stay up to date with the individual world or build that you love or want to follow along with. And lastly, you have the ability to upload your own. Once you click upload, you can go ahead and select whichever save file that you want to select in order to share it with the world. And once you select the save, it'll then give you the additional details for you to fill out for others to check out and potentially even like. You can add your individual screenshots here, add some additional tags, you know, of your choice, name the world, and then add a full-on description. And when you find one that you like, you actually have the ability to visit. You can click on the visit option and it'll basically load you directly into their world. Not only is this really cool because it allows you to draw inspiration from their actual build by walking around, but it also allows you to get up close and personal to really see every little fine-tuned detail. And it's also worth noting here that when visiting a shared world, things like the quest progression, terraforming, and accessing storage are completely disabled. So this is not a world that you're actually going to be living in. It's just more so like, you know, giving you the ability to see and draw inspiration from people's builds and, you know, how creative they are. And I personally love this. I think it's going to feel more wholesome when it comes to building a community around Enshrouded, especially the builders out there. I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to use it for reference, even use it for, like, you know, building contests. I mean, you name it here, the opportunities are unlimited when it comes to what the developers can add and expand on this in the future. And one really cool tool that they've added here alongside with this update is the camera. In the bottom left-hand side, we have page up for zoom in, page down for zoom out, Z for first person, which is really cool, and then you have left click for taking a photo or tab to close. But what I really love about this is it gives you the full ability to now take pictures and feature your builds. So if you are going to be uploading something, this will come in handy. Maybe you're a content creator and you need some really nice thumbnail shots. This also will come in handy. Again, it's just going to make a world of difference having this feature inside of the game compared to what we've had to do previously and, you know, hide behind objects and stuff to mask out our player. If you go ahead and hit Z, instead of being in first person mode, we can do page up and page down. That's page up, and then page down will allow you to do a little bit bigger zoom out action. And this is only the beginning here for the adventure sharing mechanic. The developers have already stated here that in upcoming updates, they plan to expand the feature, giving players the tools to build content and adventures for others to explore, including logic systems for things like interactive puzzles, elements, spawning enemies. I mean, you name it. It sounds very cool, and it's going to open up the world when it comes to people sharing their individual worlds and their individual builds, not only for inspiration for your own build, but also just to kind of hang out and check out some cool little mini games or mazes or puzzles that other people have crafted. And additional things they've added with the update are auto deposit stations. When placed down, it can now be used to automatically deposit all stackable materials into magical chests in the vicinity. They've also added a bunch of new deco props from the carpenter as well. For example, the highly requested street lamps can now officially be crafted. They made some updates to the water and dispensers, so now the dispensers will constantly flow no matter how close or how far the player is from the dispenser. The water will now flow a lot further on a flat surface compared to what it did beforehand. Little warning here, the developers did state that that means if you did place multiple dispensers down in an area prior to this update going live, it is possible that you now have a surplus of water and you need to go back and remove some of those dispensers. But in general, it is a huge upgrade here, and it's going to make water just flow a lot more naturally and further. And honestly, between the new skill system, the combat changes, and the ability now to share and explore worlds, I think it feels like a huge setup here for Enshrouded's 1.0 launch happening later on this year. I highly recommend it. If you guys haven't checked out the Wake of Water update here for Enshrouded to dive in, you can do so by utilizing the link down below in the description. And if you guys have built something absolutely insane or creative, let me know down below in the comments. I would love to check it out.